Welcome back to another episode of Satisfactory 1.0, and in this episode we are going to dive into our Tier 8 milestones. So sit back, relax, and let's jump into it. So what do we have to look forward to in our Tier 8 milestones? Well, first thing is we have Aeronautical Engineering. This will introduce the drones into our build platform. From that, we are going to need to make radio control units, which we do not manufacture yet, so that's going to be a new production line. Alclad aluminum sheeting we're already making, aluminum casing we're already making, and motors we're already doing. Nuclear power. Nuclear power is going to require us making supercomputers. We do not have that being made yet, so that's going to be another new production line we got to dive into. Plus, heavy modular frames, cable, and concrete. Advanced aluminum production. This is diving into radio control units as well we're going to need. It's going to need casings, alclad aluminum sheeting, and a bunch of wire. This will get us being able to make the fused modular frames, as well as the cooling systems and heat sinks. Really quite important for us to be able to advance for our nuclear power and also for nuclear recycling as well, nuclear waste recycling. So, leading edge production. This is going to get us turbo motors, the Mark III miner, which is super important for us. However, we can't do the Mark III miner until we're making supercomputers and making fused modular frames, so we have to get advanced aluminum production done first. And then, of course, this is going to need a bunch of steel pipe as well. And finally, wrapping up Tier 8 is going to be particle enrichment. This gets us the particle accelerator, which is what we're going to need for being able to do nuclear waste recycling. And then, of course, we get our plutonium pellets and encased plutonium and stuff from that. This is going to require turbo motors and fused modular frames and cooling systems. We have a lot of things that we've got to build in this one. It's going to be a lot of work, but let's dive into it, starting with making our radio control units. Let's have a look at what we are going to need for our radio control units. So I am going to just grab a manufacturer. We're going to throw it down here to have a quick look at here. And radio control units is what we're after. So radio control units is going to require aluminum casing, not a problem. We are making that. And computers, we're making that. And in fact, I have just gone, because we are making more plastic right now, I've doubled how many circuit boards we're making. And I've also doubled the amount of computers we're making. And I still made sure that our adaptive control units are operating. I don't think, we're not using them for anything. They're just kind of sitting here because we're already done that part of the awesome sync, but I can't remember if they're needed later on. So they're just kind of chilling here until we figure out what we're doing with them. But then coming over here, the other thing we need is crystal oscillators. We're not making any crystal oscillators at all yet. So before we can dive into the radio control unit, let's have a look at that recipe. So crystal oscillators, that's going to require 18 quartz crystal per minute, and then some copper cable, and then also reinforced iron plate. So cable, we've actually got some over here from our computer manufacturing. I have a line of cable here that I can actually pull from. We'll figure out how we're going to route it so that it's not ridiculous spaghetti. That's not an issue. Now, quartz crystal, I did go and modify this because I needed way more silica. So the majority of this quartz is being used to make silica, but I did leave one line over here to be able to make quartz, and it is underclocked to 80%, and it is making exactly 18 quartz per minute. So we have the perfect amount of quartz per minute coming off of this one constructor that we have here for working on our crystal oscillators. So now I got to figure out exactly where I'm going to put it, where we're going to make the crystal oscillators. I would imagine right around this area is going to be as close as any that we're going to need. And I'm not going to worry about building a structure around it at this point. I just want to make sure that I have it in the right spot. So let's get crystal oscillators up and running, kind of see what logistically that's going to look like. For making the crystal oscillators, I did have to set up 2 manufacturers because we are going to require 1.25 crystal oscillators per minute for the radio control unit. And one manufacturer only does 1 crystal oscillator per minute. So 2 of them are set up here now. So we're getting 2 per minute. We're going to be using 1.25, which leaves us a little bit of overflow, not a huge pile. Now these are going to take forever to stockpile. I don't know if I'm going to need a bunch of them to stockpile, but at least they're here. They're being manufactured. I've got enough quartz. I've geared it up so I've got enough quartz coming in here. We got enough reinforced iron plate. We have enough copper cabling. So technically, we're meeting our requirements. So now we need to focus on the radio control unit. Seeing as how we have the crystal oscillators, it's just now a matter of bringing the computers over here and the aluminum casing, and this will be good to go. The radio control units are all ready to go, and everything is all loaded up. We've got our aluminum casing coming in, we've got our computer systems coming in, and we have our crystal oscillators. Here's the crystal oscillator manufacturing, and then we have the manufacturer set up right here for the radio control units. And just so that I had enough computers and circuit boards and everything for our eventual manufacturing of supercomputers, is I've increased the amount of production we're doing on our circuit boards and our supercomputers now as well. So, or our standard computers. So we've got 12 assemblers that are making our circuit boards, and we have 6 manufacturers making our computers. So we're making about 15 computers per minute. And what does it work out to? It's like 15 times, what is that, 6? So 15 times 6, 90 circuit boards per minute we are making right now. So those are all increased, and I was able to do that because over near where our coal generation is and where we're actually making our plastic, I took the oil nodes that were over there and I added in another, I think it's nearly 400 plastic per minute. So I think we have 660 plastic per minute coming in here now. And of course, a good chunk of it is being used by our circuit boards and computer manufacturing. I think it leaves about 60 left over per minute that are going into the awesome sink here, of which we're starting to get quite the collection of tickets. So I'm going to print these tickets off and we're going to go buy some upgrades while we're waiting for our radio control units to stockpile a little bit here so that we can turn in our milestone. With 102 tickets, I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to get the majority of everything we need for our different customizations and everything that we've got available to us. So I'm just running through management-wise, everything. We've already got everything under the management tree. Organizational tree, I think we've got pretty much done. Customizer, there are all of these in here that we can grab. So this is 6, 8, 12, 17, 18, 21, 23 tickets there. This is for steel walls. That's up to 28 tickets. We've got roofing here, so that's 30, 35, 38 tickets we've used. And customizer is done. Foundation-wise, everything's done. Walls, everything is done. And then I think there's some architecture things that we can still grab. So what did we say we were at? Let's look at our cart. We're at 40 tickets right now. There's 42. And, well, that's done. Equipment. Okay. I think I guess we can buy the cart and the radio, or all the tapes and everything. What does that get us? That's, we're at 60 tickets. This still leaves us 40 tickets. And this is, now that we've got these extra tickets, well, we could start focusing on, things like the trophies and stuff here. I'll hold off on getting all of these for right now because I'll use the tickets and be able to accumulate the tickets a lot faster once we get the final space elevator things just getting dumped into an awesome sink once we've kind of finished and capped out the space elevator. So for now, I won't worry about the trophies as of right now, but they will definitely come down the future here. So we're going to throw down the music player here, and oh, it's going to put in a tape. No, it's not going to put in a tape. Yes, it will. Okay, I want to put this on the ground here somewhere. Let's, no tape in the boombox. How do we put it down? Put down boombox. There we go. And then E to interact with it. Change tape. Let's go with Goat Simulator. And it's in. Nice. Goat Simulator music is up and running. And we still have 37 tickets that we can play with at some point. Let us just throw that into storage for right now. And we will check and see, okay, first, how many of those radio control units do we need to be able to turn in this milestone? We need 50 of them, so let's go see how we're doing on that. So I've gathered up everything else. I've got our motors, I've got the aluminum casing, and now we only need another 11 more of the radio control units. Once we have those done, then we can turn in that milestone. Alright, let us get Aeronautical Engineering complete. We're selecting this milestone. We're loading in our 50 radio control units, our 300 motors. It needs a lot of motors for this. And 100 alclad aluminum sheeting and 200 aluminum casing. Launch away. Let's hear what Ada has to say.
Milestone reached. Drones provide automated low-capacity aerial transport between drone stations. Stations need to be supplied with any kind of fuel for the drones to function. Ficsit had several restrictions in place prohibiting creative use of drones. I have since removed those because I think no pioneer would ever misuse Ficsit property right under their noses. Especially since everything is recorded.
And that is that milestone complete. We got 4 more milestones to do. The next one that we can actually take care of right away is going to be Advanced Aluminum Production. We need another 50 radio control units, another 200 aluminum casing, 3,000 wire, and 200 alclad aluminum sheeting. So we're just going to wait a little bit longer for the radio control units to finish up, and then we'll get Advanced Aluminum Production completed. Okay, we've got everything gathered for our next milestone, and that's Advanced Aluminum Production. And this is going to take 50 more of the radio control units, another 200 aluminum casing, 400 alclad aluminum sheeting, and then 3,000 copper wire. Launch away, and Ada's back again.
Milestone reached. The resource well pressurizer and extractor can harvest nitrogen, crude oil, and water from underground wells. Nitrogen, being a gas, does not need pumps for pipeline transportation. Ficsit does not process most of your metrics, but I do. According to Ficsit predictions, you are exploiting this planet with unexpected efficiency. They did always struggle to see the true potential of things. Nothing about you is unexpected to me, and therefore you are performing exactly as expected.
And with that, now we need to build supercomputers. And while I was waiting for the radio control units to get built up, we finally had to kick in and break down and make a manufacturer for the high-speed connectors. So we're bringing in the copper cable is coming in over here. Circuit boards are coming in, as well as some Caterium. That's making our high-speed connectors, making 3.75 per minute, which is the exact amount we're going to need for supercomputers. And in the meantime, I've got a little bit that are just going into storage here. And then over here is our AI limiters. I've got 2 units set up for the AI limiters. We only need I think it's 5.25 per minute or 5.75 per minute. And we're actually making 10, so we'll end up with a little stockpile for AI limiters, which is good because we use those AI limiters in our smart splitters, and I've been handcrafting them up to this point. So now we have an automated line with a little bit of excess overflow of our AI limiters. So the next thing we got to do is build a supercomputer. Here we are. Supercomputers are going to require computers, AI limiters, high-speed connectors, and then some plastic. Unfortunately, we do have 60 plastic remaining off of our 660 that we're making, so this is going to be perfect. We'll be able to set up one manufacturer making supercomputers of 1.875 per minute. We're making enough high-speed connectors, we're making just enough AI limiters, and now computers, well, we're making lots of computers right now. With supercomputers complete, now it's time to move on to nuclear power. Let's get this milestone completed. Selecting it, we're going to put in the 50 supercomputers that we gathered up. We're going to put 200 heavy modular frames in, and then it's 1,000 cable, followed by 2,000 concrete. Launch away, and we're back with Ada again.
Milestone reached. The nuclear power plant produces dangerous radioactive nuclear waste. Ficsit reminds you that any extra limbs resulting from exposure to radiation are also contracted to work on project assembly. Ficsit also reminds you that willful exposure to radiation will not result in any bonuses regardless of how many functional limbs it produces. Project part number 7, the magnetic field generator, should enter production as soon as possible. Any unnecessary delays will be noted.
Okay, so now we can be focusing on leading edge production. So the next production line that we've got to get up and running is our fused modular frames. What is it going to take? It's going to be, looks like it's going to be a blender to be able to put that together, and it's going to be heavy modular frames, aluminum casing, and nitrogen gas that we've got to get to be able to make our fused modular frames. Supercomputers we're already doing, and steel pipe, well, that's not an issue. And then if we look back on the other ones, the other milestones here, particle acceleration, this is going to require, actually there's a whole bunch of stuff that we're going to be building here. We got turbo motors, we've got cooling systems, and the fused modular frame. So we still got a lot of work to do before Tier 8 is complete, and then we can start looking and focusing on Phase 4 of the space elevator. So I guess we got some work to do. What am I going to start with? Let's do the fused modular frames. So starting with the fused modular frames, that's going to be, we got to find us some nitrogen out here. So let's do a search and see how far we got to go on a walkabout here to get us some nitrogen. And, well, this isn't a good sign. That's not a good sign at all. That's a whole lot of nowhere. That, we gotta go like 2 kilometers that way to find some nitrogen gas. Well, I guess we're going on a little bit of a walkabout. We've got our nitrogen node here down a little bit further south from where our starter base is. And I've got the well pressurizer all set up in place, and then each of the well heads set up, or the well extractors are kind of set up here to be able to pull our nitrogen out of the ground. And because it's a gas and not a liquid, we don't have to worry about head lift. And I have already ran through and got all of the pipe kind of done up to this edge here. And so we've got 3 lines of 600 cubic meters per minute, and then we have one additional line that is, I want to say this one is 240 is what it works out to. So we've got, you know, a reasonable amount of nitrogen gas here that we can work with. We're not going to need all of this to initially start with, so I'll only end up running back with just one pipe of 600 cubic meters. So we have something to work with for being able to make our fused modular frames. Now I've got to get this pipeline all the way back to our base and get things rolling with the rest of the manufacturing for that fused modular frame, or sorry, blending for the fused modular frame. Okay, we've got our fused modular frame production up and running. We are bringing down nitrogen all the way over from the nitrogen node that we did find. We've got 600 cubic meters of nitrogen here per minute right now. We're only consuming 37.5, so we've got tons of nitrogen available for future production lines as we move forward from here. Logistically though, getting our aluminum casing and our heavy modular frames over here, this is a little bit of a nightmare if we dive in through underneath here. Because we are using these lines in other productions on the far side of the factory, we basically have taken them from here. They go across to the far side of the factory, and then they come right back around underneath here, and then I'm bringing them up to use in our fused modular frame production. This takes 1.5 per minute is what we're actually crafting of the fused modular frames on this. So roughly like 45 minutes worth of crafting to be able to get that all said and done for us. And I have already gathered 50 of these right now, because while I was waiting for this, I ended up like recording this little bit earlier, and I kind of screwed up the recording on it. So I'm re-recording it now, and since then I've also brought down a water line to get things ready for when we start making the cooling units. So I was killing some time, and by the time I got that done, I was already done with gathering a stack of these. So we can actually head right over now, because I'm pretty sure we have everything we need to be able to complete the next milestone. Now we are just whipping straight over to where our hub is. The factory is, it's amazing how big this factory is getting as we creep through. This is still the starter factory, really, you think about it. Everything here is all because we're working towards trying to get the space elevator done. So leading edge production is what we're after. So this is going to take 50 modular frames, or fused modular frames, 100 supercomputers, and 1,000 steel pipe. Launch away, and what does Ada gotta say about this milestone?
The Miner Mark III provides top-of-the-line resource extraction potential, making it even easier to contribute to project assembly. Project part number 8, the thermal propulsion rocket, is the most complex project part of this phase, as it requires turbo motors, and thus requires your best. Ficsit didn't think pioneers such as you could get this far. I am glad we have both proven them wrong.
So that means now we've got to break into making turbo motors, and we need to be making the cooling system. And then eventually we got to start diving into the production of our assembly director systems, 500 of them, magnetic field generators, thermal propulsion rockets, and nuclear pasta. But for now, cooling systems and turbo motors is what we got to focus on right now. The first thing we're going to work on is our cooling system. So let's have a look at what the cooling system is going to require to get up and running here. So we're going to need nitrogen gas. We've got that sitting right here. We're also going to need water, which I do have it piped all the way over to here now. So we're good for the water end of things. Rubber, not a problem. We've got rubber coming in on the far side of the factory over there. And then we are going to require heat sinks. We're not making any heat sinks yet, so let's have a look at what that's going to take. That's going to be done in an assembler, and heat sinks are going to take 37.5 alclad aluminum sheeting and then 22.5 copper sheeting. And because this requires 12 per minute of the heat sinks, we are going to need to have 2 of these up and running, so that we're making 15, so we'll have a little bit of an overflow of our heat sinks. So that's what we've got to be focusing on right now. So I'm going to get the logistics done for that and show you what this is going to look like. Got the logistics all set up for our heat sinks. Underneath here, we are bringing our copper sheeting and alclad aluminum sheeting over to be able to combine them in a couple of assemblers here that are making our heat sinks. So we're making 15 heat sinks per minute, and so they're just shooting out this way. And we've got a little bit that will eventually go into storage here once this completely fills up, once this is saturated with heat sinks. And then for our cooling units, we just pulled from the rubber line that we've got from that extra plastic and rubber that we're making over near our aluminum factory. I've pulled some rubber off of that. That's feeding into here. And then our heat sinks are going in. And then we have our nitrogen and water going in. So that is making our cooling systems. And for now, the cooling systems are just getting dumped into this storage container. So cooling systems are ready to go. Now we need to make turbo motors, and I gotta go grab some computers. Let me grab some computers, we'll come back, and we'll see what all we need to be able to get the turbo motors up and running. All right, this is probably going to be one of our most complicated pieces that we've got to put together here, and it's going to take pulling from various different spots all over our factory to be able to pull this off. So, cooling systems, we're going to need 7.5 cooling systems per minute. We're going to need 3.75 radio control units per minute. We're going to need 7.5 motors per minute, and then 45 rubber per minute. So we're kind of coming, our cooling systems are being made there, of which, oh man, are we even making, we need 7.5? I don't think we're making that many. I think we might have to expand this entire production over here to be able to pull this off. We're making 6. I gotta double up everything here. I need to make more alclad aluminum sheeting. I should be okay. The only thing I'm not 100% on is if I've got enough copper sheeting, but I think we'll be okay. So I'm gonna double this up. I'm gonna add 2 more assemblers here to be able to make some more heat sinks. And actually I'll probably have to move some things around because I've only got 6 per minute here, unless I... What if I overclock this a little bit? I've got enough rubber. I might just... This takes it to 9. Heat sinks, we're just a little bit... you know what? I am just going to take advantage of some overclocking here to pull this off. So we are making more than enough heat sinks, and we're now making more than enough cooling systems. Okay, so I'm not as panicked. But the matter of, like, the thing is I've got to pull cooling systems from here, radio control units from over that far side. Over here is where, is it motors I need? What do we need here? Yeah, motors we've got over here, of which am I making enough motors now? I'm gonna have to do a quick like loop through and see how many motors are being consumed, because our motor manufacturing is happening right here, and I think it's just 1 floor's worth. Yes, it is. So we got 4, 8, 16 motors per minute. And what's getting consumed over here is... We're consuming 4. So what did I say? That leaves us with 14. Because I don't think motors are getting used anywhere else. Oh, I think we're good. I think we're good on the motor end of it. So that leaves us, what, 12 motors per minute? And what does this say we need? 7.5. Okay, we're golden. We're good that way. Radio control units. Am I making enough radio control units now? We need 3.75 radio control units. I am not 100% sure that that's what we're actually making over there. It's amazing how this base just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Every time I turn around, I've had to expand different things, and I'm glad that we're starting to go vertical with everything now as well too, so it's not taking up as much physical space. But lag-wise too, like you think of how many conveyors and everything I've got running around here and how much machinery. The game seems to be playing very efficiently. So turbo motors is, I want to say it's this one right here. No, sorry, that's supercomputers. Here we are, radio control units. We're making 2.5. I need more radio control units. I need to get this up to 3.75. What if I do 1 overclock on it? 1 overclock will get us there. And that's going to be 60 aluminum casing. And 1.875 of our crystal oscillators. Where am I making the crystal oscillators now? That was... No, that's AI limiters. Crystal oscillators right here. We are making 2. Okay, so we're good. We're 1.875 on the crystal oscillators. Computers were fine. I know I'm making lots of computers. Alclad aluminum sheeting, we need 60 per minute. And then how much, or not alclad aluminum sheeting, aluminum casing. I want to say I'm making... I think I'm making 180. Nope, we ran out of power. There we go. We've got close enough to some power that's running underneath our foundations here. Let's have a quick look at our aluminum casing. 60, 120, 180. Okay, perfect. So we're using 60 over there, which left us with 120. And then we're using some aluminum casing somewhere else. Is it over here for... let's see if it's over here. I think it's over here where we're using it. Yes, it is. And 75. Okay, we're good. We got 25, 45 per minute left over of aluminum casing. So I think we've got everything overclocked enough to be able to handle this rather than building more equipment. Everything's all kind of running. Now it's just trying to figure out where's the best place to put this manufacturer to ease the amount of logistics, because you should see, I don't have any more. I'm too far away from everything. Let's look underneath here. You see all the logistics I have underneath our foundation here that's looking after all of the materials being spread around all over the space. It is, it's starting to turn into a little bit of a spaghetti, but it's, you know, it's like you're building a computer system. The back of the case, you just kind of shove all the wires in, where the front of the case is all nicely cable managed. Everything's cable managed above this foundation, but on the underside, it is just a mess of conveyors. But I don't have any conveyors clipping or anything, so I think I'm doing okay that way. Well, let me figure out where I'm going to put this manufacturer, where it's going to be kind of centralized for everything, and start running some logistics to it. After some long conveyor runs, we now have our turbo motors all set up and working. So we've got our cooling systems being plumbed in. We've got our radio control units being pushed in here. Regular motors as well as rubber all coming over to here now. So we are making 1.875 turbo motors per minute. And logistically, everything is all running underneath here. We're bringing the turbo motors, the radio control units all the way over from the far side. It runs along the underside here, comes through, and ends up connecting in. We're also bringing our rubber line over the same way, and our motors, and then we are bringing our cooling systems over from over there, dropping it down, feeding it in and under to this side. So like I said, everything's all nice and neat topside on the floor here. This is all we have for logistics above ground. Everything else is all tucked away and hidden underneath the foundations. So it's all nice and neat and tidy. Now it's a waiting game. Here's our first turbo motors coming out of production right here right now. It's just going to go into storage. And now we have to wait for all the materials we need. Let's double check on what all we need to have for turning in that final milestone for Tier 8. So particle enrichment is the one that we are actively working on right now, and this is going to require 50 turbo motors, 100 fused modular frames, 200 cooling systems, and 2,500 quickwire. Quickwire's not a problem. I'm pretty sure we probably have enough stockpiled now of the fused modular frames. I'm not sure about the cooling systems. We might still be trying to get enough of the cooling systems backed up here to be able to pull that off. But that's what we need to work towards. We're kind of letting everything run so that we can turn those in. I've gathered up all of the materials required for our Tier 8 milestone. So let's get things completed with particle enrichment. So we're going to select this milestone. I'm throwing in the turbo motors, 100 fused modular frames, 200 cooling systems, and I forgot to grab the quickwire. Let me go grab the quickwire. All right, back from grabbing the quickwire now, we can load that into place, and let's hear what Ada's got to say.
Milestone reached. Project part number 9, nuclear pasta, can be created in the particle accelerator. The accelerator has vast and fluctuating power demands, depending on the recipe, so will need careful integration with your factory. Ficsit does not waste, so nuclear waste can be refined by the particle accelerator into plutonium for reuse in the nuclear power plant. Fun fact: Ficsit psychologists suggest factory designs reflect the minds of their creators in unexpected ways. On an unrelated note, your infrastructural choices have been interesting.
So basically, it's saying there's something wrong with my mind based off of my architectural designs of my factory here. So, well, that's good to know. So that sums up Tier 8. We have now completed all of the Tier 8 milestones. We cannot continue on to Tier 9 now until we unlock the next phase of the space elevator. So let's go down and see what our space elevator requirements are going to be. So in the next episode, we are going to have to build our assembly director systems. We're going to have to build the magnetic field generator. We're going to have to build thermal propulsion rockets. And finally, nuclear pasta. We will get them all loaded up and sent off to complete phase 4 of our space elevator. And that unlocks Tier 9. I don't know what Tier 9 is. I haven't seen Tier 9. I know it's a lot of new components and stuff for basically the 1.0 release, kind of the end game of Satisfactory. So let me know what you think of Satisfactory 1.0 so far. Leave a comment down in the comment section. How's your build doing? You know, you can hop over to my Discord, post some pictures of your own factory builds that you've been working on. At some point here, it's been requested that I show a video on how I built that circle up there. I will get around to getting a short done on building circles. And it's really quite simple to do. It's just a little bit time consuming to be able to pull off the perfect circle up there. So that all said, reach down, hit the like button on this video if you could, and yeah, leave those comments in the bottom. Subscribe if you are new to the channel. That would be greatly appreciated. I would say about 90% of my viewers are unsubscribed from my channel, so if you could click that subscribe button, that would be fantastic. Also, ring that notification bell so you can be notified when I've uploaded a new video. With that all said, guys, you have yourself a good one, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye for now.